What Emily normally does with the software is she teaches how to design those beautiful proposals, which we looked at a few weeks ago, and probably will again sometime in the near future. In fact, just so you know, the system we now have on these Friday sessions is we're going to run a poll later on in about half an hour, and you can vote for what you want us to teach you in the next session. Now, just quickly, Emily, before I go over to you, for those of you that have never seen the software before, it's all totally new to you. The software is designed to help you sit in front of a client and take them through your pricing process so you can price with confidence and get higher prices. And firms that are using it are getting much, much higher prices. I had the privilege to interview Kim Lafayette just this week, and I'll share her story at some point and the video because it was extraordinary. She's used it 3 times with clients recently. The first time it was, I think, a $4,000 client. She got $18,000. The second time she got 149% increase in the price, and the third time she got a price that was $30,000 more than the previous bookkeeper was charging. So I'm going to share that story at some point. Watch this space. Kim's doing some amazing stuff with the software, as are many others. But today our session is all about how to set it up and customize it with your brand. So on that note, Emma's going to share some stuff for about 20-25 minutes or so, and then I'll come back and we'll deal with any questions that you have. So any questions pop into your mind, stick them into the chat box. So if you're all ready, Emily, do you want me to go just to you or to your screen?
Yeah, probably jump straight into the screen share, and I'll start off by showing everyone. So what you're seeing on the screen now is probably something similar to what you might get when you first download the software. It'll have the effective pricing branding in there. It'll be the orange colors. I'm currently in the admin site, so some of the things on the menu you might not see there, but this is what it'll look like. But all of the things in here, these colors and the logo in the corner, is all stuff that you can change to suit your own brand. So we do that mostly by, if we head into this theme and design tab here, this is where we can change all of the colors and we can upload our own logo. So I'm going to use a logo of one of Mark's students that I've been working with to use her to build up her proposal for her, Nina. I'm going to use her logo just to show you how we can change things in here. So if we just click on the upload button here on the top left, this logo area, it does give you some recommendations on the size that you should upload. So it does say here, we recommend that the image is a rectangle. So if you want it 500 pixels wide, so you probably want it 250 high. So if you have a logo that size, that's perfect. Or if you can get the designer to send you it in that size, or if you're really struggling, you can use some software or something like Canva and plug in those that pixel size and add your logo to it there so that you can get it the right sort of size. And if we click upload and we add that image from your documents and then scroll down to the bottom here and click save, it's going to add your logo up in the top corner here. So another thing that you can do is change the colors of your top here, of the top banner. And something that we see with some people with the logo here is that they've uploaded a logo that has a white background on it. So what ends up happening is if they change this background color to, so let's say because of this brand, it's a purple or a blue background color. So just to demonstrate down here, you can change the colors. And this top header section, I could change the color here. And it does show you, there's a preview section here as well. So if we just scroll down just slightly, there's a preview section here that shows you all of the colors that change as you do it. So as you can see, if we change the background color here and this logo has a white box around it, it does just look a little bit odd, a little bit jarring, and it stands out there. So what we recommend that you do is you either leave this color white if your logo has the white box on the background, or if you have the option, you can remove the white background and just have this image as on a transparent background so that it just kind of sits nicely. So just bear with, I do think I have an example. This one here, you can see here now in the preview section, it doesn't have that white box around it. So it stands out and just looks a little bit more professional rather than having that white box. So that's something, if you do want to have your brand colors incorporated along the top banner, you can either leave that white box there and keep this white, or if you do want to have your own colors, then I recommend you change that logo to not have a background, which you can, there's software that helps you remove the background, or you can ask your designer to send you one that's on a transparent image. Another alternative, if you did have this logo in a different color scheme, so right now it's this blue and purple color, but if you wanted to have a blue background, then perhaps you can get your logo with white writing so that it stands out on that blue background, if you do have a couple of options there, just to make sure that that logo looks nice and neat. So I'm just going to change that color back to the white. So the next couple of things that you can do, you can change, as we've just seen, the color on the top banner here. We can also change this little line here as well, and we can change the colors on the side. So if we just come into theme and design and we scroll down, we've got this preview section here. And just along the right here where it says color, this is all of the colors that are throughout your entire software. So this base color here is the line across the top. So if I just change that so that you can see what happens and make that green, you can see this line across the top here changes to green. So if you do have your brand colors to hand, which I do just have the colors for Nina's brand here, you can type in the hex code for it here and get the exact right color rather than trying to use that toggle. So if I've just added her purple color here along the base color. You can change the font color and the buttons that are displayed throughout your software. So especially when you're doing a quote, these buttons will appear here. We can just go through there and change that to the same color. I do have this annoying thing. I press the enter key and it takes me back here. So I do just have to keep logging back into that theme and design area. But what you can do is just change everything first and then hit save on the bottom. I just have a bad habit of pressing the enter key. So if I was to just go through and just change all of those to the color that I wanted, press OK. And then when I got everything happy, I would click the save icon and then everything would change throughout my software. So you can see now on my main settings area, all the buttons have changed to this color. If I was to go in to do a quote, all the buttons would have changed there as well. So if I just head back into theme and design, the things that you can change are all displayed here. So all of the elements that you can change are visible here. We can change the header as we've seen, and we can change the side menu here along the edge. If you do change your side color to something a little bit darker, so this purple that I'm using here is quite a dark color, what you might then need to do is make sure that your icon color is also a nice light color, because if you had still the black color here, it doesn't stand out very well. So I would also recommend changing that to a white color so that it stands out on the edge, and click OK. We can also change these colors in the tables, which is something that you would see in, if I just click save, for example, your model management area is something that has a table. So if you wanted to change things in there, then we head back into theme and design and just scroll down to where it says table, and we can just add the color that we want in there. So just add that color once again. That's a little bit dark for me, so what I can do is just use this color palette here and just drag it over to a lighter shade so that the color still stands out, but it's still kind of fitting with the brand colors that I'm using there. Or if you had a color to hand that you like to use that is a little bit lighter, then you can just plug that color in there as well. So those are all the things that you can change color-wise, and that just makes brings your brand colors through into the software as well. The next thing that you can change, if we just come back to the settings menu here, something that you can change is the labels throughout your software. So if I just click the labels icon here, this will change the labels throughout the software. So, for example, if you're on a quote and it says in the top right corner, continue to the next page, you can change what that button says, and you can maybe change it to say something like next if you preferred to have that. What I think the common thing that people would want to change is, here I am seeing action butter color with the US spelling. I personally, being a British person, would prefer to see that with a U in the word color. Or another example might be if, for example, you're French and you're speaking with French customers and you want to come in here and change all of these label names to the French version, then you could come in here and change all of that quite easily. So the way we do that, and I'm just going to pick one that I know that I can go and show you where it is afterwards. So this one here, base color. If I just click on the edit button, these top 3 boxes will be grayed out because you don't need to change those. They are stuff that occurs within the background of the software. All you need to change is the display text here, and that will just change what you actually see throughout your software. So if I just edit that and add the U because I am British, and then save, and I then head back into, I know where that base color label is. It's in theme and design here. And I just scroll down. This used to say, as you can see, it used to have the American spelling, but it now has the British spelling. So you can go through and change those things, or if you had a preference, some of the labels, for example, one of the labels is BR for behavior awards, which Mark put it that way so that it doesn't say something like discount and the client wants to click on it because they want to know what the discount is. It's BR so that it's a bit more subtle. But if you wanted to change that to say behavior awards or something else, then you can just go in to the label section and change it to whatever you want to change it to. The final thing then as well what I want to show you is we can edit this menu here as well, customize this menu on the left. So I'm just going to pop out into a different version of the software so that I can show you what you would see in your software. So I was just in the admin site there. So again, we've got these orange colors here. Well, there is a box on your settings here called Menu Manager. And if we click into there, we can edit all of the stuff that we see in our menu. So the menu at the minute, we can just see these icons along the left-hand side. And if we click this icon at the top, that just expands it so that we can see the names of all of these things in here. Now, what you have in here is your live modules that you're using, models that you're using. If you can also have a shortcut here to your clients and quotes. So if we're in the menu management section here, and we just go over to the left here, and we click the drop-down menu, this one for clients, it's just simply the client option. You can't unfortunately add specific clients. You can just add a shortcut to your client area, to your menu there. And with these other ones, if you just click the drop-down menu and choose pricing model, you can then click from the drop-down menu that appears to choose any of your live pricing models that you want to add to your menu. And you can then use these little button icons on the side to click and drag and just maneuver those, and they will change order on your menu there as well when it just refreshes itself. You can add brand new menu items here as well and delete the ones that you don't want. If you're not using half of the things on here, you can just delete that and clear up your menu a bit so it's a little bit tidier. If you wanted to change the icons here on the left, if you wanted to something a little bit more appropriate, or you didn't like the icons, they didn't really trigger anything for you, the way we would change that is if we go back into our settings and we use the model management section here. If we head into there, it shows us all of the models that we have currently live. And if, let's just pick here, cloud setup, and I choose edit, I can change the name of that if I want. So on my expanded menu, maybe some of these are a little bit long, or you maybe wanted to just put a little bit of a shorthand or change the name. If you just go into your model and change the name there, or if you wanted to change the icon, we click the select a model icon here. If we just click into that text box, it just opens up a icon menu, and you can scroll through there and try and find something that you like. Or if you wanted to type in a little keyword like cloud, it might bring you up a couple of cloud options there, and you can choose a new icon from there. Do bear in mind as well that if you've changed your colors along here, then the icons will appear. So if you wanted your menu to be orange, then when you change it in the theme and design area, this whole area will be orange. And then when you expand it, this whole expanded area will also be orange. So those are a couple of things that you can change within the software to reflect your brand. There are also a couple of things that you can do with your proposals to reflect your brand as well. So I'll just show you just two very short proposals that I've built as a template for you. So if you had a draft proposal and the scenario would be perhaps you've gone through a meeting with your client and they're not quite sure and you just want to print off your package prices to take away with them, then this is something that you can just build very quickly, and it would literally be the click of a button to print this off. You would complete the quote. They would say, oh, I'm not sure, I need to go and discuss it with my partner, or for whatever reason you might need to print this out. You would just click finish the quote, click create proposal, and choose this template, and then click print, because it will pull through all of the correct prices that you've already worked on. And just to show you what that looks like, you can incorporate your own brand and your own colors into this as well, very simply. We might go into how to actually edit that and how to actually do those changes in another webinar at some point, just so that you know how to change all of those things. But just as an example, that's what it might look like. I'm not sure why it just jumped off there. And the other one I just made for you is the payment plan, just as a quick example to show you what it looks like. You can have your logo here in the top, this black color in the back, we can change that to your brand color. The color of the text here, we could change this so that it all fits in keeping with your brand and it looks nice and neat. It's something that you can just print off in a pretty much a 1 or 2 click fashion, and that's something that they can take away with them. It's branded and neat and nice, and in keeping with your company logos and things like that. So that's everything I've got to show you for now in the software of how you can add your brand and your colors and stuff. I'm going to pass it back over to Mark if there's anything you want to add to that.
Thank you. So I was just writing something down as you were talking there. So I kind of had a question in my mind, so I'll ask it. Before I do, I've got one other thing that I'm going to show. And that's how to set up sales tax rates in the software, to get that set up. And then we're going into questions. So I know Sheila's got a question already. Think about what questions you've got. For those of you that are brand new, with these sessions, we always dive into whatever people choose as a topic from the previous session. So sometimes it may well be that if you're a beginner, never used the software before, then it may be worth watching some of the beginner videos that we've got. In fact, we did a session, I think it was either last week or the week before. Sarah might put a link in the comments, which is really aimed at people who've never used the software before. Okay, I can see questions coming in, which is awesome. My question for you, Emily, was those 2 one-page proposals that you showed. One was one was a draft one showing the different packages and the prices, just in case the client can't make their mind up and wants to go away and think about it. And the other one was the payment plan. Are those I know you've just designed those this week, they're brand new. Are you going to put those into people's accounts so they can then use them as a starting point and edit them and put their, because you mentioned about you can change that black bar to the brand colors?
Yeah, so if it's needed in today's session, I can just demonstrate really quickly how people would change that. I can make those templates available for people, and then essentially, because of how it's set up, all they need to do is click into it and upload their logo instead of the one that's already there, and the size and the position of that logo should stay where it is. And then they just click that box and change the background color. So it should be a very simple way of just using that template and just changing the colors in the background, which I can show later if you want me to show how to do that as well.
Okay, so if you want to know how to change the colors and some change on those one-page ones, just put a question into the comments box and I'll get Emily back to do exactly that. And any other questions, stick them in there. What I want to do is I want to show one other thing that you can set up in the software. So bear with me a second while I just dive across to my copy of it. So one of the things that you might have is some form of sales tax that you add onto your prices, to your fees. If in the US it's sales tax, perhaps if you're in Australia it's GST, in the UK VAT. So there's a few places where you might want to set that. One of those, if you go into the general settings, the cogwheel, which is at the top, you will have the first option in the top left is your profile. So when you go onto your profile, this is something else that when you first get the software you might want to set up. For example, you could put your avatar image, that's what appears in the top right of the software. So that's where you can set that up and so on. But one of the places that you might want to go to is company details, which is halfway down the list on the left-hand side. If I go to company details, that's where you can put your address in there. But also if you go towards the bottom, you have a tick box that says, do you have to add sales tax to your prices? So if you're in the UK, for example, you're VAT registered, then of course you would put a tick in that box. And then you'll have a box appear to the right where you can insert your default rate of sales tax, which in the UK with VAT is 20%. So I have 20% in there. So you might want to set that early on. And I'll show you in a short while where that then appears. The second place where you might want to set up sales tax is in your individual models. So if I go back to the cogwheel and go to model management, so model management is where you do all of the editing of your pricing models. So I'm going to pick, let me just pick one at random. I'm going to do this business startup one. So this is a model that I did a session on recently on how to price business startups. And if I go to save and continue here, this is the screen where you set up everything to do with your model, all of your prices, the questions you ask and so on. And down the left-hand side is your workflow. You can set the questions you want to ask the client. You can define what your packages are, your bronze, silver, gold if you like. You can set your upsells, your enhancements. But one of the areas is called expressing price. It's the second one down. And in expressing price, one of the things you may want to set is under standard text. It asks you if you want to show sales tax text. If you're not registered for sales tax, if you don't charge sales tax, you may well leave that as hide. But if you have to charge sales tax on top, if you're in the UK and you charge VAT, you might want to click on the show button and then add some text of your choice. And this is the text that the client will see when you reveal the final price. Because what you want to do, you want to reveal prices that are before sales tax, because it's a smaller number, makes the price seem smaller, but also you want to make sure you manage their expectations and make it very clear there is tax on tops. So you might put plus VAT, for example. It's entirely up to you how you word it. This is where you choose the wording that will then appear. So that's, and you would do that on each model individually. And the reason for that is because it may be that you are registered for sales tax, but it may be that certain things you offer, certain services, might not be taxable, might not have sales tax added on. So that's why it's left to you. You can change it. You could, for example, let's say you have a service where you also have disbursements. You could have plus VAT and, I'll put and this time, plus VAT and expenses, for example. Maybe there's third-party costs that you're also going to add on and you want to make that clear. So I'm going to leave that as plus VAT and expenses. And that's why each model you can change that wording. Okay, having done that, let me then finish that off. So what I mean by that is I'm going to go back to my home screen and where I would be in front of a client, and I'm going to find that business startup model. So let's imagine I am now going to sit down with a client. I've got a business startup. They want me to act for them. I've gone through I've talked about my service. They want to buy. His name happens to be Peter Rabbit. I would go through with Peter and ask him some questions about his business, like what accounting system he's on. I might ask him things like, Does he want to meet with me every month or every 2 months, and so on? And all these questions are designed to decide what the price is going to be. And so I reveal the price, and let's say for this particular service, it's going to be, he wants the middle package, and it's 12 payments of $225, in this case $225. So he's happy with that. We select that, and now we go to the page where you can do the upsell, you can offer other things, but also you will now see at the top, this is now where, at the very top, we now add that text. So we can now be really clear with the client, say that's $225 plus VAT plus expenses, okay? So we always reveal the price net of those things because it seems smaller, but we also want to make sure that when we finalize and they say yes, we make that really clear. Now, the final thing is when we hit save and continue, it then takes us to the payment plan where we can clarify exactly what the payments are. And this is where, if you set in your company settings that you are registered for sales tax, if you're in the UK and you're VAT registered, it will default to adding in the 20% at this point. So at the top, it's $225 plus VAT. In the UK, you'd have pounds probably. And then in the payment plan, we've got this clarity with the client because it actually says the payments are 225 plus 45 is 270 gross. So this is where we then show them the exact payments. And what you can then do is you can always override that. By default, it'll put in 20 because 20 is what I put in my company settings. It'll always default to the number that you decide is your default rate of sales tax. But you can override it because there may be some services where it might be a different rate of tax, and so you would just simply change it here. Let's say it's 15%, and if I come out of that box, it will now just recalculate the payments that the client will now make. It's now just payments of $258.75 gross. Okay, so that's just a bit about sales tax, just so you know the different settings in the software. So you set it at your firm level in company settings if you are registered, and then for each model you can set up the text that you show on the screen when you reveal the final price, and then thirdly you can then override that if you want to when you show them the exact payments, the payment plan. And then that one-page payment plan that Emily showed you, if you're on that screen, when you've done the payment plan, you can hit the print button and print out that one-page payment plan for the client without having to go to do a full proposal. You could create a quick payment plan there and then that they can take away. They can see there's complete clarity over exactly what they pay you and when. Okay, we're going to go on to questions in a bit, and oh, Kim's here. She was late. I mentioned you earlier, Kim. I said nice things about you, I promise. So Kim is here. Right. Before we go into questions, I have a couple of other things to do. Firstly, if you found this valuable so far, just let us know by hitting that like button. Let us know if it's been valuable. If you've learned something new, if you have learned something, perhaps tell us in the comments. What have you learned that you perhaps didn't know before about setting up the software, customizing it for your firm with your branding, your look, and so on. Okay, the other thing I want to cover is one of the things we now do is we let you choose what the next topic is. Now, we normally do these most Fridays. Because it's August, we're taking a bit of time out. We're having a vacation, so we're not having a session next Friday. It will be 2 weeks today is the next session. And so what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to let you decide. You get to choose. So if I just flick across here, we use Slido for these polls. So all you have to do is with your phone, hold it up to that QR code, or go to slido.com and type in those 6 digits, and you will see this. So if you want to vote, do you want us, here's your 3 options. We could either look at keywords to automate proposals, and we've got some new stuff coming out next week in the software. So that's the proposal side of things. When the client agrees the price and you create a proposal, you can build in keywords. That's where it inserts things like the price, the quote date, but you can create your own keywords. There's a lot of flexibility with keywords, so you can create proposal letters, you can create engagement letters, and you can put in whatever information that you want automatically into those proposals. If that's what you'd like to see, then click on that button, and if you would prefer to look at how to build those beautiful proposal templates, then we'll bring Emily back. That's the second option. And the third one is we can look at how do you test your pricing models. Once you've got a pricing model, how do you test it before you go live with a client? Sarah, I might have messed something up. Let me just check. Did I close the poll? I think I might have just closed the poll. Okay, well, no, there's votes coming in now. I must have fixed it. So apologies. We're new with Slido. We're just kind of playing around with it. And I can see right now that votes are coming in. So I'm going to give that I'm going to give that a few minutes for you to carry on voting. So while you are voting away, I'll come back. So what else did I want to tell you about before we get into questions? Not sure. So let me know what your questions are. Thank you, Nancy. It says voting closed. I can't vote. I should have seen that. So it's hopefully fixed now. I can see the votes are still coming in. Let me know what you would like to cover next week, and I'll reveal the answers fairly soon. Okay. Let's go and look at questions. We have 22 minutes to answer questions. Where did we get to? Hi there, Philip. Good to see you. I can see Wendy's here. We have first question. Where's the first question? Okay, Sheila, I think it is. So Sheila says, is there a way to change the date format to something that doesn't already show in the drop-down box? And I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, so I'm going to guess and have a go, but if I get it wrong, perhaps Emily knows what you're talking about. Before we do that, let's close the poll, and let me switch back across just so you can see the results. Here we go. So it looks like you want to know about how to create proposal templates, which means Emily, you're back on in 2 weeks' time. They want to know how to create proposal templates. And the other two got equal votes, so we'll probably actually put those two in the pot 2 weeks' time and another topic as well. So come along 2 weeks' time. If you want to do the other two topics, you can vote again, and hopefully that'll come out at number one. Okay, let's go to that question that was asked about the date. So the date, if you go into the customizations, that's the cogwheel at the top, you pick theme and design where Emily was earlier, and what you can also choose here is the date format. But basically what that means is, do you want, there's lots of dates. Hang on, sorry, yeah. Let me take a step back. So there's two things you can change. Firstly, there is, it's changed, it is. That's the date format, so you choose it all here. And this is particularly important for your proposals, so you can get just the right format in your proposals. So that's where you can change your date format. You can also select the currency. So when I showed you that quick example going through it, you could see that my price of $225 was $225. If you're in the UK, of course, you would just change that to a pound sign. You can change that to whatever your preferred currency symbol is, and that's the symbol that's going to be used when you display and show a client a price. And of course, if you want to, you can leave that field, put a spacebar in it, make it blank, because you might not want to use a currency symbol. Why might you not want to do that? Well, it may be because of price psychology, and some of you in my academy will know about the price psychology and not showing currency symbols. Okay, let's. So I don't know if Sheila, that was what you were looking for, and if that hasn't helped your question, let us know. Nancy Jacobson says, is there a way to point out just the 3 options page with all the ticks and crosses? Is there a way to print out just the 3 options page with all the ticks and crosses? Yes, there is. And and again, I might go back to Emily on this, but you've got 2 options, Nancy. So when you create your proposals templates, and briefly Emily showed you, when you create a proposal template, one of the things you can do in your proposal templates is pull in what we call a pricing table. And it might be better if I might get Emily just to perhaps to open this up in the proposal side. Perhaps you can show it. So I'll describe it briefly and then perhaps Emily might show it. So when you're building out your proposals, you can put in a pricing table to display, for example, you might want to display that payment plan. You might want to display how the client answered the questions. You might want to display what's in your packages, the columns of ticks and crosses. Now, if you're displaying the columns and ticks and crosses, then at the moment there are two options. You either have one which shows just the package they choose with the ticks and crosses, which is what you'd put into your final proposal, or you can have a table which is the ticks and crosses for all of the packages. When it does that, it also puts the price of each on top, and that's because that enables you to produce that as a one-page report, which is what Emily showed earlier. I'm going to flick back to Emily, if that's okay. Emily, do you want to just show where that is in proposals? So
yeah. So I've just brought it up. This is the draft one I built, and it's what I've done is if I just go to sections and drag a section in, then there's an area down here called price tables. So if you want to pull through all of your packages, it's this one here, all package tables, and that, as you can see, pulls through all three options. If you just pull through chosen package, it would just pull through the one that they've chosen. So if they haven't chosen anything yet, then you want to pull through all packages. And as you can see, it does pull through the price, which is based on, so this proposal is based on the quote that you've already completed. So if they've gone through and let's say you were going through a bookkeeping model and they've answered the questions with you and they've said, I'd like the bookkeeping to be done weekly. I want you to come to my office. I want it fast tracked and all of these different options. That will affect what the price of the package ends up being. So that's the price that is pulled through, is the price that is based on the questions that they have answered. I'm not sure, maybe Mark can answer, if there is a way of removing that price if you just want to give them the standard list of the packages. But it also, I believe, does not incorporate any enhancements that they've added or any behaviour awards that you've given them. It is just the base package price based on the questions that they've answered. So it is determined on what questions they've answered. So that's just done by pulling through this pricing table here. So I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Emily. I was just about to demonstrate that, and I was just quickly doing a short, just getting to a stage where I can reveal the price, and but I might need a bit more prep time. So let me go back to your question, because I need to set that up. To go back to your question about, can you, when you show the prices on for the bronze, silver, gold, are they with or without behaviour awards? And one of the things that we are building in, I'm just trying to think when it's coming out in the software, you will be able to choose whether you show the prices, and I think that's the next development, with or without behaviour awards. So you are going to have some more choice around what you show on those particular reports. But I think that's coming soon. I need to double check now. In fact, on that note, let me tell you what's coming new with the software. So we have a new release that's going live. I think it's going to be Monday, definitely next week, but the developers have told me today that it's going live, they expect on Monday morning. And so just so you know what's in the new features, there is firstly the integration with QBO. So once you've agreed the price and the payment plan, you can then you'll be able to then do your proposal, and then there'll be a button to push it out to QBO, so it pulls into your QBO account. You've got all the invoices dated for when the payments are due, and we've also got integration with Xero. And then the third thing that's coming out next week, which was requested by David Colts, is some more keywords. So if you're creating, and the thinking behind this, if you're in the Value Pricing Academy, I talk about the renewal contract letter process, how you can do a renewal contract and the words to use when you are agreeing the new price for an existing client. And in there, you can, those of you in the academy will know I show you how to reveal the price and give them the different choices and the different prices. Well, now there'll be the additional keywords to enable you to build that proposal. And what we'll probably do is Emily and I will build a default one for you to get you started. So some new keywords coming next week as well, and then some more stuff coming at the end of August, which I'll tell you about probably next time we get together. I was on with the developers earlier with the new developments. Okay, next question is a good one, I think, for probably for Sarah. For Emily from Sarah. How do we change the logo on the one-page payment plan? So someone did want the answer to that one. Are you okay to show that?
Put my screen share again. So if I head back and just bring that up, I will just show you how it would work. So I will, on the payment plan one we've said, I will make this template available at some point for everyone so that they can just grab this template, and then it should just be a process of very quickly just swapping out the logo. So this box here on the top is a text box with a background image added onto it. So if I just click the little abacus symbol here on the right, I can then edit my picture settings. So what I should be able to do is I can change the background color here. And let's say that your brand is that one I was working with Nina just earlier, is that purple color. And I can just change that very simply there. And then to change the logo, I just want to upload a new logo. So if I just click upload and I head into my files and I just find, again, you preferably want one that doesn't have that white box around the back of it. What it should do, now that's not a very, very great example with the color scheme there, but it should put it the right size and the right position. So as long as you don't mess around with any of the settings here, this image width, horizontal alignment and the vertical alignment, that is what makes it the right position and the right size. So as long as you don't touch those and you just click upload and add your own logo, that will pop the logo in there. You'll then also want to just come down here and change the color of your text. So if you just click the pencil icon and just highlight that, that brings up your font menu that you can change, and you just click this icon here for the color of the text. And unfortunately, it's not as precise. You can't put your hex code in, but you would just find the color that is closest to that purple that she's using there. So perhaps that one, and just change the text as well. So it is just literally a process of coming in here, just upload your logo into that spot and change the background color, and then change any of the colors throughout here that to incorporate your brand colors in there as well. It should just be as simple as that.
Thanks, Emily. And also going back to the previous question about a one page which showing the ticks and crosses and stuff, I've actually managed to get it set up now. So if you are if you sat down with a client and you've asked some questions, I've got business advisory opened up here, and it then comes up and it shows the client that your bronze, silver, gold versions of your business advisory service, if you want the starter option, it's $547 a month, full reporting $715, and premiums $1480. And the client's thinking, well, I definitely want one of them. I'm just not sure which one I want to go with. Ideally, you want them to say yes to one of those because then you can move on, finalize it, get them signed up, and so on. But if a client needs to go away and think about it, and they want something to go and take away with them, that's where this print button up here is. And the print button on this page is the one that then prints this one-page report that you've set up. Now, this one here is the one that's currently in the software as a default that you can use, but what you'll be able to do soon is that one that Emily has just shown you a few seconds ago. If you prefer that with that nice bar across the top, that's an alternative one. So we are going to be giving you template proposals that you can use to make it really, you can just pick the ones that you want that we can put in the system. We'll teach you how to edit them yourselves, but if you want, you can just use the ones that we create. Okay, let's move on to another question. And I think I saw one. Yeah, so Lisa said, this is probably for you, Emily, where do you find the code for your colour? I think I can answer it, but I'll let you answer it.
So a couple of options. You can ask your designer if you've had it designed, and they will send you either what's called the hex code, which is that hashtag and then 6 figures, or they'll give you the RGB code, which is the red, green, blue, and it will give you that breakdown. Or there are some things that you can do. You can get some software. I know I use a Mac, and there's a little tool on there which helps you just hover over the color, and it will reveal what the red, green, blue division is. And then you can just hop onto Google and type in RGB to hex, and you can type in the numbers that it brings up for you, the red, green, blue. Type in those numbers and it will churn out the hex code for you, and then you can just go and plug that into your software. But probably the easiest way is to just ask whoever built it for you, whoever made it for you, and they should be able to send you the code.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Next question was from Sybil over in Canada. She says, can the logo and related items be changed by the type of template? In other words, if I want to use a separate brand for personal taxes, can I set up that template with a different logo? So Sybil, what you can't do is, when Emily started off and showed you how to customize the software, so the software's got your logo, you would need to keep changing it backwards and forwards all the time. But if you're talking about just branding the proposals and so on, then absolutely you can. So Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can create as many proposal templates as you want. So you might have a proposal which you really, really like, which you've got for bookkeeping with your logo in there, but you want to then duplicate it for tax preparation or something, but you have a different brand for that. Well, you can then rebrand, you can do a different proposal with a different design. And you could then, you'd need to then pull in your logo as an image, perhaps that you've created in Canva or something. You could pull your logo in, and then you could call that proposal proposal for tax returns. Have I said anything wrong there, Emily, or did I get that right?
Yeah, no, that's all right. You can, if you're building it just for your proposal, you can just build that proposal once, and then you just clone it, and then with the cloned copy, just go in, change your logo to the other one that you want to use, and just rename that, like Mark said. And then when you come to choose that proposal, when you've built your quote, it will offer you a drop-down menu of which template you want to use, and you just click which template you want, and just that'll pull through all of your keywords and stuff with the one that's got the right logo that you've built. Yeah, so you can do it for that. But like you said, you can't have multiple for the software itself. It's only on the proposal side that you can do that.
Thanks, Emily. Donna says, any integration with Practice Ignition? No, it's not on the horizon, and the reason for that is because apparently it's quite difficult to integrate into Practice Ignition. But not only that, we have quite a lot of people who do use effective pricing and Practice Ignition. They get the pricing done in effective pricing, they do the proposals in effective pricing, they create it as a PDF, and they import it, I think it takes seconds, into Practice Ignition. I know that David Pankovic does that, and we had a session at the start of the year where it's on my YouTube channel where he showed exactly how you do it, and it was remarkably easy. So we're not sure that there's any benefit in having an integration with Practice Ignition because it's so easy to do anyway in that way, and a few other people do exactly the same thing. It may be one day I get somebody else on just to show and talk how they do that. So nothing to do with the software, but Nancy says, any place I can recommend about price psychology and the leaving off the currency symbol. Nancy, I think you're in the Value Pricing Academy, so next time we have a VPA session, just ask me the question and I'll go and dig out from my resources where the research comes from that. Okay, I'd need to go and dig out the research. Okay, we have David Colts. David says, and we have 6 minutes left, by the way, 6 minutes for questions. I don't know how many questions we've got. I think we have 2 more, so there may be time to get your question in if we've not dealt with it already. David says, just to confirm, will there be an option to include pricing from selected enhancements to the pricing tables in addition to the rewards? Let me just read that one more time, just check I understand it. Just to confirm, will there be an option to include pricing from selected enhancements to the pricing tables in addition to the rewards? I'd need to go back and check what we've spec'd out, David, because I know you've sent me a lot of videos with that as an idea. We are planning on building stuff into the August development sprint that will enable you to take the descriptions from enhancements and pull them through to your proposals, because I know you want to do that in your engagement letters. Whether I'll do exactly what you asked for there, I'm not sure. I'd need to go and check. Okay. So that we answered successfully Nancy's question, which is good. Okay, question from Parul. For how many days can we use and see effective pricing software as a trial option initially? Parul, we made the decision that we don't give trials. And the reason for that is because we don't give trials, and we also make the software available for free to members of the Value Pricing Academy and the Bookkeepers Pricing Academy. And the reason for that is what we found over and over again over the years is that the people who get amazing results with the software, and I mentioned Kim's earlier, the results she's getting, and others are getting some huge results, it's because they understand value pricing. And what we do find is when we used to give away free trials, we attracted all sorts of people thinking it would be a magic button that would just get them amazing prices, but they didn't understand value pricing and then couldn't figure it out. And so we decided that's not what we want to do. We want to work with people who are serious about making their pricing work and getting better results. So we don't do trials. If you are serious about getting higher prices and are willing to put in the time and effort to make it work, then you'll do it. If you're looking for software to give you a quick fix and a result straight away, then value pricing doesn't work like that. Value pricing is not easy. There's no magic button. There's no secret formula for getting higher prices. You have to understand value pricing and the principles behind that. So I hope that makes sense, Parul. We have 2 minutes left, so I think we're actually out of questions, which is great, because I did have one more brief thing I wanted to mention, and that was that people often ask, how do you get support with the software? And so there's support in many different ways. If you're in the Value Pricing Academy, we do a session every month called How To Thursday, where we go deep into a particular service like how to price tax returns. And as part of that, we'll look at specific pricing models in the software for tax returns. You also get, if you use the software, unlimited email support. Just email support if you want help. We run these sessions every Friday. We also, or most Fridays, not next week, but most Fridays we run these sessions. We also have video training. We have a complete video training course. It's completely free, where we walk through some of the principles and the foundations of value pricing, and then how to apply that in the software. But some people want to go deeper still. Some people want sometimes people want someone to do it for them or hold their hand through the process. So a couple more options for you is you could do some amazingly beautiful things with proposals. Once you've built your proposal, they look at they press of a button and it prints them out, just like Emily kind of showed you earlier. But if you don't want to go through the time and effort to build up the proposals, we have a service where Emily will do that for you. There is a small fee for it, but it will save you the probably 5 or 6 hours it takes sometimes to build out great proposals. So if you'd like a shortcut, then I think that Sarah will probably put in the comments box or the description the link to how you can find out more about hiring Emily to build your proposals. And the other thing, very briefly, just to kind of let you know, 2 of the people who are extraordinary with this software, doing some amazing things, and you know because I mention them all the time, David Coltz and Kim Lafayette. A few people have been asking them in the Academy for their help to build out some pricing models. And we've been talking quite a bit recently with the objective that at some point in the next few weeks and months, there will be an option to hire them to help you build out pricing models based on their experience and based on what they're doing to get extraordinary results. So watch this space. There'll be more about that over the next few weeks or months as we kind of start to flesh that out. Initially, they are offering their services to members of their study group in the Value Pricing Academy, but we will start to roll that out over the weeks and months to come. Nancy says, oh my God, so worth the fee for Emily to build a proposal. She's brilliant with design and save tons of time. Well, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to get Emily back, and Emily's going to be looking at how you build proposals. She's going to show you how to do it. And then at the end of that, if you decide you want to do it yourself, that's great. Or if you want to, Emily might talk through a little bit more about how she can help you get your proposals created. Okay, it is on the hour. We always finish promptly, as you know. I hope you have an amazing weekend. We're next back on with this session in 2 weeks' time. Proposals is what you asked for, so we'll cover that. So as ever, we'll roll out with some music to give me a chance to read the other comments. If I missed your question, I apologise. We always have this hard stop. So if I missed your question, either ask me in my Facebook group, Value Price with Mark Wickersham, and we'll answer you, or 2 weeks' time, we'll have the next one of these sessions. Thank you so much. Have an awesome weekend. And thank you, Emily. Bye for now.
I wasted all my time, I wasted all my nights, I wasted it on someone who's indifferent. He didn't love me right, he told me I was blind, but I never really wanted to listen.